Volkswagen will be experiencing quite the first this summertime when it introduces this. It's the brand new ID.7 Tourer, and it is in fact its first electric estate car. Now it brings with it all of the efficiencies that we've seen from the conventional ID.7, but with a greater focus on practicality through a big boot and lots of interior passenger space. So today we've come out to Spain to experience a first look at this new estate car and find out, well, should you be choosing it over a regular petrol or diesel version? First off, let's jump into the design of this car, because from the front end you can see that we've got a very impactful design with a fully illuminated Volkswagen logo, which I think looks really cool. Now, as we move along the side of the car, we can see we've got standard roof rails, which you will be able to attach accessories to, and that's always going to be finished in black, and it goes along with lots of gloss black elements throughout the car. We've also got large alloy wheels, and obviously we've got a tapered roof line, which is a little bit like the one that we've seen on the Arteon shooting brake, car that we looked at recently. Now, of course, this is a car focused on practicality, so we really do need to check out what it's like inside to see what it can offer when it comes to passenger and luggage space. Now, obviously, the interior of this Tourer is largely similar to the regular ID.7. Now, Volkswagen did catch a bit of criticism for the infotainment screen on some of its other ID products like the ID.3 and ID.5, namely because it just wasn't intuitive enough, which is why it's completely redone the system in this ID.7. We've got a 15-inch display ahead of us, and it's got all of the controls in it. There aren't any physical controls for the heating and ventilation, but fortunately it's far more intuitive than the ones that we've seen on other ID models. It's also got ChatGPT, the artificial intelligence voice recognition software built in, which works via the standard voice assistant. And that means you can ask it all sorts of questions and ChatGPT will get an answer for you, which I think is quite cool. In terms of more regular practicality features, we've got a lovely big storage area in the middle, which is going to keep all those loose items nice and contained. And then underneath, there's another section there for additional storage. It's all very stripped back, but the seats themselves are nice and comfortable, and you've got a good view out of the area ahead. All in all, it feels very normal, very regular, but I think the big improvement comes through that screen. That's going to be far easier to use than we've seen on other ID models. Obviously, from an estate car, you want plenty of space in the back seats too. And I'd say that the ID.7 has got this box firmly ticked. Now, the driver's seat is in my seating position, and I've got loads of knee room, loads of space for my legs, and plenty of space for my feet too. But it goes above and beyond that. Because of the special platform that sits underneath the ID range of vehicles, there's no transmission hump. So the person in the middle has got plenty of space to stretch out too. Above and beyond that, we've also got excellent levels of headroom, because despite having a standard fit panoramic sunroof, which has smart glass that can be taken between opaque and transparent at the touch of a button, we've actually got a centimetre more headroom than you'd find in the standard ID.7. In terms of other fitments and features, we've got 2 USB-C ports and heated seats in the rear as well. These seats themselves are quite angled, but they are comfortable. And you do have a relatively raised view over the people sitting in front of you, so you get a slightly elevated experience. Overall, very good, and just what you'd expect from a normal estate car. Obviously, you want a reasonably sized boot from an estate car, and I'd say that the ID.7 does quite well in that area. As standard, it's got 545 litres of boot space, and that rises to 605 litres if you tilt the rear seat forward ever so slightly. And then overall, if you fold down the rear seats, you get 1,714 litres of boot space to play with. Now, you've also got some nice deep recesses at the side for those loose items. And if you lift up this undersection, you've got a storage area there for those smaller bits and pieces. A nice low boot line too, so putting those heavier items in and out isn't going to be too tricky, though, as I always say, there's quite a large area of metal at the front, which I think could get scuffed up, so you might want to put something over that to cover it. Electric tailgate too. So overall, very usable and very practical, just what you want from an estate car.
The ID.7 Tourer will be available with a new 86 kilowatt-hour battery, and that can return up to 427 miles of range from a single charge. There will be a smaller 77 kilowatt-hour version available soon too. Now, this larger battery will also be available with a speedy 200 kilowatt maximum charging capacity, and that means it can be taken from 10 to 80% in under 30 minutes. You can go for the smaller battery, and that brings the charging capacity down slightly to 175 kilowatt, but that'll still deliver a 10 to 80% charge in just 28 minutes.
Now obviously you need to drive a car in order to find out what it is truly like, but I think this first look at the new Volkswagen ID.7 Tourer is showing it in a very positive light. It's got loads of boot space and plenty of room in the back seats too. Plus, it's got some clever new tech which I think will keep even the most avid of button pressers happy. Hopefully later in this year we will get a drive of the ID.7 Tourer, but until then I think things are looking very positive for this new electric estate car.